Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to Lost in the Wasteland, where each week I have a guest come on and we get lost in their favorite movies and their perspective. And this week I have Ben joining me, the film aficionado, and also, as his name might say, the Infinity Film Podcast here. So, Ben. I'm going to let you introduce yourself a little bit and then talk about all of the things you're involved in movie-wise.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. First of all, pleasure to be here. So, like I said, my name is Ben, and I run the Film Aficionado Instagram movie account. I do reviews, and I used to do more top 10 lists and stuff. Haven't done that recently. But that's because me and a friend, Rod, the Cinema Gallery on Instagram, we've been doing the Infinity Film Podcast for almost a year now. We're getting close. So, yeah, we do weekly. We started getting more reviews once new things are coming out that we're excited for, computers and everything. But yeah, we did a debate the other night. We do trivia and top 10 list on there, so it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. I've only recently, in the past like 4 months, really gotten into listening to podcasts, and I've caught up on a few, and I'm about to catch up on IMDb's The Movies That Changed My Life. So
That's a good one too.
I'm looking for new ones, so I have to check it out.
Sweet, yeah, check us out.
But I appreciate having you on here, Ben, and the drill. We're going to be talking about some of your favorite things that have to do with movies, and starting off with everybody's least favorite question that ask movie fans is, Ben, what's your favorite film?
So I think with most film fans, this is a hard question, and a lot of people have several. But my go-to is Lost in Translation, 2003 by Sofia Coppola, directed. And it's got Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson, who are two of my favorite people. I remember I saw it years ago. I actually saw it on my iPod the first time I got on iTunes, and I was like, oh, let me check this out, because I was looking for some Bill Murray movies to watch. And I did not expect what I saw, and I was blown away by it. I love the setting, Japan, and that hotel, and all the antics they get into. And it's just fascinating to me how it's Bill Murray, who's an actor in the movie, who's doing some commercials and stuff he doesn't really want to be doing in a faraway country. Yeah, Suntory Whiskey Time. And then Scarlett Johansson, who's married to a photographer, and she's kind of figuring out her way, what she wants to do and everything. So both of them are kind of lost and lonely, and but they form a connection, and I thought it was really, really sweet. And they have a big age gap. I forget what it is, like 30, 40 years.
Like one of the things that probably shocks me most about like actors and stuff like that is Scarlett Johansson's not that old.
Right.
It's like she's in her 30s and she's been acting for a while. So like I think at the point of Lost in Translation, she was like early 20s. And Bill Murray is
18 even.
Like well into his midlife. Like he's definitely like 50 at least, somewhere around there. But I also like to shamelessly point out like Lost in Translation is somewhere up there.
Oh, nice.
It's a great film, and I remember watching that in college for the first time. It also is a big Bill Murray fan, growing up watching Ghostbusters and just like a Caddyshack, and it being so different. And I'm also a huge Wes Anderson fan, so this is definitely more in that kind of vein of Bill Murray, just like a somber sadness about him all the time. It's like very much Rushmore, very much Royal Tenenbaums, where it's just like he just looks sad, and there's something sad about him, yet he still could throw those quips.
Sad but funny.
But yeah, it's a great pick, and if all of you haven't seen it, you should check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
Sofia Coppola is a very talented director, not an actress, but very talented director. As a kid who grew up watching The Godfather, all three of them all the time, oh my. But now, Ben, what is your earliest memory of going to the movies?
So my parents always tell me the first movie I saw was one of the Thomas and Tank Engine movies.
Very nice.
I know I loved it as a kid, but I don't specifically remember going to the theater to see that one. But I'm sure I did, and watched it several times probably. But the earliest memory I have is seeing Monsters Inc. with my dad, and I just remember having so much fun with it, and then walking out of the theater, it made me cry. um, and I remember my dad like, why are you crying? It was a happy ending. I guess I don't want to spoil it if people haven't seen it, but I hope everyone has.
20-year-old film.
Yeah, but it's got it's a uplifting ending, but it was like a happy crying, I guess.
Yes, very much.
I should say, yeah, and just yeah, the way it gets on Sully's face, and you get that smile, and then it fades. It got to me. So,
well, and you know what? That's such great filmmaking. Like that choice, how they shot that last moment, and using just his reaction shot and the audio in it. And it just lands so perfectly. So Ben, Monsters Inc.'s my favorite Pixar movie.
Okay, cool.
And I've loved that ever since I was a kid. I'm a huge fan of John Goodman. And Sully is one of my favorite Pixar characters ever. And it's so interesting because like 2001 was such a formative year of animation for me, at least personally, because like Monsters Inc.'s my favorite my favorite Pixar film. Jimmy Neutron came out in 2001.
Oh, boy, genius.
Right. Which there was the first year they had an animated Oscar, and they only had 3 nominees. It was Jimmy Neutron, Monsters Inc., and the winner, and honestly, my favorite animated movie, which is
yeah.
So
classics.
One of my earliest memories of going to the theater, because like I saw Space Jam, like I had to be 4 when Space Jam came out. But like I remember being 10 years old and seeing Shrek and being like blown away by this movie. Yeah. And as an almost 30-year-old, turning 30 this year, watching Shrek, I just love it even more. It's just so much going on that does not hit you as a kid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's filled with adult jokes.
But like with Monsters Inc., it's very mature, which like Pixar's known for that. That's their thing. It's just like they're able to hit something on such a deep emotional level. And yes, it is a happy ending, but it's one of those like longing like kinds of things where it's just like making you feel so many things. And also Mr. Waternoose terrified me as a kid.
Yeah, he's pretty creepy.
So like he seems like a cute old man, and then he starts running after you, crawling on walls, and you're just like, no, I don't like this. But that's a fun one to have as like your first memory. Now, Ben, I get very interesting responses to this question because I feel like either you're very much like you have a specific genre you love, or you're just like, I love a bit of everything. So Ben, what are your thoughts?
I'm in the latter category that I like a bit of everything, and I'm down to watch whatever. But if I had to pick a favorite genre, I'd probably go with drama.
Okay.
Just because I think it encapsulates a lot of different, movies. And I mean, you could have funny dramas or, the epic and emotional dramas too. Even though I love, sci-fis and actions and everything. But yeah, I feel like most of my top 10 and favorite movies are drama related.
Yeah. And it's interesting because like I myself am very much a genre type movie lover, and like I'm more drawn to those, but like when like a very like human drama hits, nothing else hits like that.
Yeah,
because it's like
exactly
could have been me. Let me feeling this. And when it's doing it right, it really nails that. And I've definitely got more of appreciation because, like, if you were to ask me, like, before I started reviewing movies and basically seeing everything, I'm like, if you're going to give me a choice, I'm going to pick, like, a sci-fi movie or a Western or an action movie. But, like, there's a reason why dramas hit so close to people.
Yep.
Now, do you have a particular favorite filmmaker?
So, yeah, the one that always springs to mind for me is Steven Spielberg.
Okay.
Which I know might be a little cliche in the film community, but I mean, just the range of movies he has, all different genres pretty much, and the talent he pulls in every time too is extraordinary. And yeah, a lot of them filled with childhood wonder.
Yes, absolutely.
E.T. and Hook and stuff. I remember growing up loving.
Oh, Hook! I watched so many times as a kid, which it's like looking at like Rotten Tomatoes. It's like solidly rotten on there. I'm like, I'll still watch Hook.
Yep.
I love me some Robin Williams.
Me too.
And Dustin Hoffman was like as an adult looking back and thinking about that, this is like the weirdest casting.
Yep.
For Captain Hook, but it works so much, and you can't even tell it's him.
No.
Like this, like he just is lost method for you. So, and now, and Ben, you bring up a good point because like I feel like Steven Spielberg gets that bad rap of like he's just a populist filmmaker. That's not true.
No.
Like, to be honest, like he's one of the most talented filmmakers and storytellers in the history of film. And I don't think he gets enough credit for being able to do basically anything. Like, I think maybe the only thing he hasn't been very successful at is making like a straight comedy.
Yeah.
Okay, because we don't need straight comedies from Steven Spielberg.
Right.
He does everything else.
Yeah.
So, like, because like, and I beat a dead horse with this example, but think about the year 1994. How many filmmakers can put out something like Jurassic Park, which is arguably one of the greatest blockbuster science fiction films, mixed with horror, mind you, ever, and Schindler's List, which is one of the most emotionally devastating dramas ever put to film? That's Steven Spielberg. And he still does it. Like, some of his films, for me, recently haven't hit as strongly. Like, I didn't love Ready Player One. I'll sit and watch it because it's just like a feast of like pop culture, just like
nostalgia,
slapping you in the face. But like, I'm not going to say I'm not excited for West Side Story to see what he does with it, because he's going to do something great with it because it's Steven Spielberg.
And Bridge of Spies too. I feel like that was kind of underrated. If anyone else came out with that as their first movie or something, people would be like, "Whoa, you got to check this out." But
so interesting because Steven Spielberg gets the same rap as Tom Hanks, where it's like there's certain actors out there like your Daniel Day-Lewis, your Streeps, that it's just like nominated. And then you have Tom Hanks, who's literally great in everything, and you just kind of forget about him come award season for the most part, at least. Because, like, to be fair, before he got nominated for A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, it had been in like 20 years since Tom Hanks, of all people, got nominated for an Oscar. But, like, Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks are that, like, they're going to be great, and you kind of take it for granted.
Yeah.
And I love Bridge of Spies because, like, who could ignore directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Tom Hanks, written by the Coen brothers?
Yep.
Like, and it kind of flew under the radar, but I have it. It's up there, and nice. I rewatched that, and I'll take crotchety Tom Hanks doing Coen brothers dialogue any day. Maybe just not watching Lady Killers over and over again.
I haven't seen that one yet, but
It's so like with I have my Welcome to the Wasteland show where I dive into a film each week, and my favorite filmmakers, the Coen brothers.
Okay, cool.
I have gone coast to coast. I literally have Hail Caesar and Buster Scruggs left. And I'll still put on Lady Killers and enjoy it for what it is. It's not a great movie. It's not even a good movie. It's just like, what were you thinking kind of movie? But like Tom Hanks is a lot of fun in it. It's weird, but
yeah,
if I were going to recommend a Coen Brothers film, that would literally be the last one.
Okay.
Because they have plenty.
Yep.
But we've actually started talking about some actors here, so nice segue into. So, Ben, do you have any particular favorite actors or actresses?
Well, perfect segue because my favorite actor is Tom Hanks.
Look at that.
We've already, touched on his incredible range and how he's good in almost anything. And I always think he's like the epitome of the everyday American person.
Yep.
To me, with like Forrest Gump and Captain Phillips too, which I think's kind of underrated.
Yeah.
And of course, it's history. We know what happens at the end. He gets saved. But the performance he gives right at the end there when the nurse comes in to check up on him and he's just shaking and he doesn't know how to respond. It's incredible, and that had me my eyes glued to the screen.
I remember watching that film and being like, holy crap, Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Like I even took him for granted most of that movie. And you're just at the end, you're like, yep. Like even something like Greyhound that came out last year. It's a really solid thriller, but like, boy, does Tom Hanks sell it. That's what he does.
Yep. And I mean, even just his voice too is Woody. I love the Toy Story franchise. Those are some of my favorite movies.
You
are a toy. Yeah, so many lines that it's so great how he balances that humor. But he's kind of in that role where he's trying to lead the toys and everything, but then you also get that little sadness, kind of like Bill Murray too, with Buzz coming in and kind of taking over the reins somewhat. So
it's so weird because having been a kid that grew up watching Toy Story all the time and loving all 4 films that they've made, because look at you, Pixar. But like sometimes it's just like you get completely lost. It's like, don't remember this is Tom Hanks and Tim Allen here.
Yep.
And it's just like that. And the thing is, they're not changing their voices. They're literally doing their voices, but like they just so embody those characters so well that you just get lost in it.
Yep. Yeah. Those are so good. 2 and 3 are my favorite. I usually go to Toy Story 2 because I grew up on it too. And that one's got some good like adult jokes too and pop culture references. Probably didn't catch them all as a kid.
Number 2 does not get enough love.
Yep.
And that's Stinky Pete. Like, Kelsey Grammer is so great. Like just the voice casting in those films are perfect between him and Ned Beatty as Lotso Huggin' Bear. Oh man, they have some great villains in Toy Story movies. And the whole entire thing was Zurg and the multiple light years in the second one. So great.
Yep.
I'm having a catch with my dad.
Oh, those classics. Yeah, and then I'll give a shout out to Bill Murray too. I know I talked about Lost in Translation and Ghostbusters is one of my favorite movies as well. Yeah, he's hilarious. He's like, if I could be an actor or an idol in Hollywood, that's him. Because outside of movies too, he just shows up at karaoke bars and photo bombs, engagement photos, and he just seems like it's such a cool guy.
He just crashes weddings.
Yeah.
I want Bill Murray to crash my wedding.
Yeah, I know.
I want him there. And I have to say, I don't think like probably most people don't think about like what's the one line that makes you laugh the hardest out of like any movie line. But like for me in the running is from Ghostbusters where Dan Aykroyd just like dickless over here turned off our machine. And when the mayor's like, is this true? And Bill Murray's just like, yes, this man has no dick. And it's just like, how?
Every time.
How did you make that line work?
Yeah.
And it's so perfect and so deadpan and just so great. Oh, that makes me laugh every time I watch that clip.
I tried to use that sometimes, but when it's out of context, it doesn't really work.
We're talking about movies because everything is in context.
Yep.
There we go.
Yep. And then for actress, speaking of Lost in Translation, Scarlett Johansson is my favorite actress. She is my celebrity crush, I gotta say. But
don't blame you.
Yep. But she is incredibly talented as well. And like Tom Hanks, she's got a range as well, with like sci-fi, Under the Skin, which is underrated. Very, very creepy. I've actually only seen it the once, and I'm a little nervous to watch it again because it creeped me out so much. But her performance is really good.
It sure did its job. And like speaking of like special years in film, 2019.
I was about to bring that up. Yep.
Go ahead, then. You're the guy.
All right. Everyone knows her from as Black Widow in the MCU nowadays, and Endgame. There's 255 characters in that movie, but she stands out in the spotlight there. Gave a really good performance and one of her best from the MCU. And then Jojo Rabbit from Taika Waititi, which actually surprised me. I was excited for it, but it was more emotional than I thought it would be. And then
Taika Waititi will do to you.
Yep.
Most ridiculous movies, and then you're like, feeling.
Yeah. I didn't expect this.
I didn't expect this. And one particular scene in that movie I did not expect. And I think you probably know what I'm talking about, but I will not say what it is because I don't want to ruin that for anyone who hasn't seen it.
Yep. Yeah, I was shocked. And her playing with the kid too, messing around with him, that was really funny and heartwarming.
That scene of her portraying herself and her husband was some of the best acting in like any movie that year. And I'm like, so when I gave out my own awards at the end of the year, I gave her both Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress.
Oh, cool. She deserved it.
He killed it that year in like Marriage Story.
Yep. Not quite as heartwarming, but really powerful movie.
Yes. Yep. And between her and Adam Driver, because like that's the kind of film that like it lives and dies on the acting. Yep. And boy, did they bring it over them.
Yep.
So Scarlett Johansson is extremely talented, and you're right. She could do any kinds of roles. Mm-hmm. Like she could kill it physically with an action role, which she has plenty at this point. Like, not the hugest fans of Lucy or Ghost in the Shell, but like she's committed.
Yep.
And she's owned Black Widow for years at this point. And I love seeing her. And like, honestly, I didn't think I'd be excited for a Black Widow movie, but you know what? Especially at this point, where it's like I haven't watched a Marvel movie in almost 2 years.
Yeah.
It's like, give me Black Widow.
I'm pumped for it.
But
and her voice too. She's done a couple of animated movies, but I want to shout out her with Joaquin Phoenix was really good too. And I think she replaced a voice actress. They had some of her lines recorded, but then they brought in Scarlett, and I mean, you can't tell in the movie. And just her voice and the connection she has with Joaquin is really good. So
that is such a hard role.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's so much heavy lifting she has to do in that movie, and legit, like all voice acting, but like, this is like a next level kind of role with so much complexity about it. And that, so to disclose a little bit about myself, I'm a robophobe. I truly believe Skynet will take over someday. And we're going to be screwed. So the first time I watched her, I'm like, no. No. And I don't think I let myself appreciate it as a film because I'm just like, no.
Okay.
So like I hated it the first time I watched it, but watching it again when I calm myself down, I'm like, it's just a movie. It's an amazing film.
Yeah.
And it has so much layers, and between Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson's voice, like there's no arguing with it. It's an amazing film.
Yeah, it is scary to think about. We might be there one day, but
now I'm stirring up all kinds of feelings all over the place with people watching this. So, sorry. Now, Ben, what's a film that you feel like you could just like pop in and watch like any day?
So, quite a few could come to mind. We did a top 10 on our first episode of the Infinity Film podcast. Another plug there. But it was a long episode, so. But I thought long and hard about it, and I could do something, dramatic and emotional, but I don't know if I would pop that in every time.
Yeah.
Thinking of a comedy, I was like, if I watch it like every day, the jokes might not hit me as hard every time. So I kind of want to go with a fun action adventure movie, and I'm going with the first Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. I love Jack Sparrow. He's one of my favorite movie characters. You can catch me doing impersonation of him almost every other day. I love doing it. But yeah, the story is it's so fun, and a bunch of different characters. Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley too do a really good job, and the soundtrack is awesome. It's probably my favorite score from Hans Zimmer. Well, Klaus Badelt, I guess technically, but Hans did the main theme and helped with some of it. So,
and then did the other films,
right? Yep, yeah. I go between the first and the second Dead Man's Chest, but I think the first one's a better movie overall, and I probably watch it more. But the second one's a lot of fun.
I think it's a more tightly written, structured movie, because like that's the tricky thing about like the original Pirates trilogy is as they went on, they got like bloated, and like by the third film, you're just like, what is going on? Who's going after who? What storyline am I following? But like,
Double crossing.
I still have so much fun watching them, and like I feel like anybody like roughly around our age, like I remember Pirates of the Curse of the Black Pearl was on like USA, TBS, TNT, like every weekend, like that was just on there all the time, and everybody saw it. Johnny Depp got nominated for an Oscar for for Jack Sparrow because it's such a crazy, fun, so well crafted and deliberate performance because like he seems like chaos.
Yeah.
But like as a performer, you need to know what you're doing going into that performance, and he's just all in. And for me personally, I love Barbossa.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Rush. Like, I'm so glad they just kept bringing him back. Like, it made me sad that he died after the first one, but like, boy, one of the best stingers out of any movie is the end of the second one. And when he comes down, he's chewing on that apple. I'm like, yes.
Yep.
I wanted you back. Very rarely am I okay with dead characters coming back because I think it's so cheap. But I was happy about that one because, like, I'm not exactly invested in the mythology of like the logic of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies to just be like, well, he died. Yeah. It's like there were ghost pirates in the first one, so like,
yeah, you can get around it.
I have to say, Davy Jones too is one of my favorite villains in any movie, and my God, that CGI.
Yep, still holds up.
That character design and that motion capture performance from Bill Nye is just off the charts. And I'm a huge fan of movie scores, and organs get me. Like, I could throw on the Interstellar score and feel
I thought
like,
you'd say that.
yes. Yep. But like Davy Jones playing on his organ and the Kraken theme are just like chef's kiss of movie scores. I'm just like, yes, I could just throw that on and just listen to that anytime.
Yeah, same.
The special effects in those movies are off the charts, and they're from the early 2000s. They still look better than some movies that get released today. But I can definitely be down with watching Pirates. Just so much fun.
Love it.
There we go. So now this was my favorite question that I ask, and I feel like it's the hardest question. Which might also be why it's an interesting one. Is Ben, what's a film that you feel like you have a strong connection to because it connects to another interest of yours?
So I thought about this one a lot too. I feel like I'm beating myself with that, but really good questions here. Another big hobby and interest of mine is music.
Okay.
I play guitar and I dabble on the ukulele. And I've had a iPod Classic, still rocking that.
Nice.
that I've had for a while. And then vinyl too. You can't really see it, but
I have a record collection myself.
Oh, sweet.
Yep.
I've started building that. And my favorite band of all time is the Beatles.
Okay.
So A Hard Day's Night for me, I guess, would most closely connect all those. And yeah, I love the music, of course, is the Beatles original. And it's a fun British movie too. It's got
so
British comedy. Yeah, very British. But it's cool too how it kind of feels like of the times too, because it's black and white. And I have the Criterion Collection DVD, so it's still, it's got that little grain to it and stuff.
That's on my it's on my Amazon wish list, the Criterion of Hard Day's Night, which is funny because I recently rewatched that.
Okay.
That had to be like 2 weeks ago or something. I had just recently rewatched it.
Sweet.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. They're surprisingly hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, they're a bunch of funny guys. So like,
the whole interview montage was really good, and they're asking I think John, how'd you get to the US, from Liverpool? And he said, oh, we just went straight and turned left at Greenland. And so many quick jokes.
It's so interesting too, because I'm going to be plugging a show that recently debuted on Apple TV Plus called 1971, and it's a mini series about 1971, the year that music changed the world. And it's 8 episodes really digging deep into the musical landscape of that year. And of course, it's at the time where the Beatles were breaking up. And had broken up. And it's so interesting, like, seeing the Beatles then and John Lennon so like serious about like all these things, and they didn't have anything of Paul McCartney, and like George Harrison popped up. He's just like, Paul's going on and doing his own thing, and John and Yoko are doing their thing, and George is just kind of like, there's no more Beatles. Like, it's so interesting seeing, because like, you could tell Paul McCartney definitely has fun with things because he's a laid back kind of guy. But like seeing John Lennon just being like fun and like a happy young man, like just the 4 of them just having a zany, weird time, like running away from girls and getting arrested and chasing after his uncle.
I think his grandfather.
I know he's like an older guy.
Yeah,
like chasing after him who gets arrested. Just all this craziness, and then of course they have the performances, which like growing up and like even today, like the Beatles have never been like my favorite band. I'm so bold of me to say I've always been more of a Rolling Stones kind of guy, but
one of those. No, I'm just kidding.
You can't argue that the Beatles aren't one of the, if not the greatest band ever.
Most influential. Yeah.
Their music is so classic, and just being able to enjoy a movie just full of their music is pretty awesome.
Yep. Yeah. That one and Help too is it's a lot of fun. It's not as structured Help, but it's fun.
That one I haven't checked out before, so
okay.
I'll have to check it out.
It's different. They go crazy with the story, but it's still got their humor and they're having fun. Plus, I love the Help the album a lot. So yeah.
Now, Ben, what's a movie character that you feel like you connect with on a personal level?
So I'd probably say James Bond because no, I'm just kidding. Gotcha.
You'd probably get canceled.
Yeah.
Perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff doesn't fly a whole lot anymore.
No. Yeah, some of those older movies. But I'm excited for No Time to Die. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, there's a few I thought of, and there's some I guess watching them on screen I thought were really relatable. So I'll throw out a few here. I thought of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character from 500 Days of Summer. He's really into music too.
Do you also dance in the streets to Hall & Oates?
Exactly. I look in the mirror and see Han Solo. And I got a little crush on Zooey Deschanel too, like he does. My girlfriend's gonna be mad. I talked about several celebrity crushes on here. But yeah, and he's kind of quirky too, and he goes out and does karaoke with the group and stuff. So
yeah,
and then yeah, I feel like he was relatable to me. Jesse Eisenberg's character in Adventureland.
Okay.
I don't have quite as bad a job. I mean, I guess he learns to love it, but he's into music too. I didn't even notice his theme before. But it was really cool that he gives the cassettes to the girl that he likes, mixtapes, which I do with my girlfriend Anna. I can make her some CDs with my favorite songs. So, and then he's kind of, I wouldn't say I'm fully awkward, I guess, but big groups and social stuff. I like to stay home and watch movies.
Don't we all on Instagram here?
But yeah, I think a lot of people could relate to that. And then also Miles Teller, his character in Whiplash, just because the music aspect too.
The music part.
Yeah.
I hope you never had a Fletcher in your life.
No, I've had a lot of good teachers, not no one that bad.
Not my temper.
But no. But his dedication to music, and he gets a hold of something that he likes, and he really wants to work hard at it, and he's dedicated and works hard towards it. And I feel like I do that with things I like, or stuff at work too. I guess I'm trying to stay dedicated and stay on task. So
that the end of Whiplash though,
that's one of the best.
Oh man, that
I was
trying to. When did I watch that for the first time? But I remember like, oh no, and then you're just like, no, he didn't.
Oh yeah,
and it's just like that. Like Damien Chazelle is a ridiculously talented director.
Yeah,
and like it's crazy. That was his first film.
Yeah. I was late to the party watching that one. It was actually was it earlier this year, I think.
Okay.
And I heard so many people talk about it, and I was like, oh, I'll get to it. And then they said the ending's crazy, and I was like, okay. And I got to the end, and I'd heard how awesome what it was, but I was still enthralled and totally into it. Yeah.
But those are some great examples, and obviously that music's flowing through.
Yeah.
Now, And Ben, do you have a particular movie that you think people would be surprised to find out that you love?
So thought about this one too. I'm not sure if I have the best answer, I guess, but I'm not a huge musical guy.
Okay.
My girlfriend Anna has been getting me into watching more musicals, and I do I do enjoy the ones that she shows me typically. But speaking of Chazelle, La La Land, I think typically you wouldn't think would be something I would be enthralled with. Um, I like Ryan Gosling a lot, especially more recently with Blade Runner 2049 and some other roles. And Emma Stone is really good too. But a musical, I don't know, and then jazz and stuff. But I was totally into it. I mean, I was dancing with them by the end, making my own dance moves, and I love too. It doesn't feel like a typical musical.
It doesn't.
They kind of break into the song and dance, but that ending too is super emotional and powerful. Caught me off guard.
Knows how to stick a landing. And honestly,
Yep.
I feel like endings are the hardest things to do.
Yeah.
It's like it's so hard to wrap up because like you could have a great hook, you could have this idea, but like how do you end it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's so tough. And Damien Chazelle knows how to do it. So kudos to him. It's funny. I'm the one who loves musicals, and then getting my girlfriend Jess to keep watching them. So I've always been a fan of musicals. Like I used to watch, like I could probably sing every lyric to every song in Bedknobs and Broomsticks still at 30 years old. I watched it so many times, and like I love Angela Lansbury, love Beauty and the Beast, like because like half of Disney's animated movies are musicals, so it's like watching those all the time. But like
I do love those too.
It's interesting because like even if the movie isn't great, if I love the music of something, I can still enjoy the experience. So like Greatest Showman,
perfect example.
Good movie. And also P.T. Barnum, well, in real life was like a monster.
Yeah.
And even the one in the movie, I'm like, if you weren't Hugh Jackman, I would not like you at all.
Yeah.
But like, I could just throw it on and listen to the music because, like, to be honest, that movie's almost wall-to-wall music. So, like, La La Land's not quite like that. There's definitely parts, and especially as the film went on, there was less and less of like the musical numbers. I even love the John Legend song when like he's playing in concert. I'm a big fan of the soundtrack to that movie.
Yep.
Now, my last question for you, Ben, is what do you love most about movies?
Well, I could go on and on about this, but I think the main thing is that it's an escape. It takes you to a different world, different time, different place, and just for 2 hours or however long the film is, it takes you out of if you had a bad day, it helps me out, and even if you're having a good day, it's a fun it can be a fun escape. So yeah, just being able to get attached to characters and emotionally involved, laughing and crying even. It just I love just popping in a movie, and if it's a favorite that I know I'm gonna like and enjoy, that's awesome. Or a new one that I'm excited to see and give my review on and thoughts about and talk with other people about them too, is awesome. So, yep.
I definitely agree. So now, Ben, to wrap things up, I always have my guest ask me a question.
All right.
So, what question would you like to ask the Wasteland reviewer?
Well, we talked about soundtracks and scores earlier. I know you talked about the organ being one of your favorite instruments. I was going to ask you, what's some of your favorite movie soundtracks or scores?
So the one that I find myself listening to most is Junkie XL's score for Mad Max Fury Road.
Nice.
Because like yes, there's a dude playing a flamethrower guitar, and it's like in the soundtrack, but like even just like the strings it's a real orchestra, and then it has all the electronic and the guitar in it too. And the track Brothers in Arms, I could just listen to that over and over and over again. Davy Jones' theme from Dead Man's Chest and the Kraken theme.
Yep.
Both are great. And like the Interstellar theme is fantastic. And especially is it Coward? Especially the score where it's like spoilers if you haven't seen Interstellar, because like this part of the movie's like there's a particular actor that most people did not expect to be in Interstellar.
Yeah.
And this person is doing a cowardly thing, and like the music playing in the background is just amazing. And like obviously there's certain scores that are just absolute classics. Like I could throw the Godfather score on. It's just so beautiful. And also being from South Jersey and growing up like 10-15 minutes from Philly, like throw on the Rocky.
Oh yeah.
Rocky score just like just get you pumped up. But like I definitely have
some stairs.
Yes, and then be completely winded afterwards. I don't do well with stairs. I have an affinity for, like, I love like comic book movies and stuff like that. And if they, like, one of the things is you got to make a great score, which honestly, that's one of the biggest issues I have with the MCU is like, for most part, they haven't put a lot of effort into focusing on that. You have your Mark Mothersbaugh's Ragnarok score, which is like, and like when Thor's just like, because it's what heroes do. And then like that do, and it's just like, yes. But like, I have to say, Alan Silvestri's scores from Infinity War and Endgame, the track Forge, I get goosebumps every time. Like, I love that sequence from Infinity War, all starting with a giant dwarf in the form of Peter Dinklage is like, you'll be taking on the brunt of a dying star, boy. It'll kill you. If I die, only if I die. It's like, but that's what killing you means. And then that whole entire sequence all the way up to the Bifrost shooting down in Wakanda, and then the Avengers theme shoots on, and then come on, Portals. And that one gets me every single time, and all I can hear is like, Cap on your left, and you're just like goosebumps immediately. And then I guess the last one I'm going to bring up is because this is actually one of my favorite moments experiencing a movie in a theater is I was such a huge X-Men fan. And even watching Last Stand now, I'm just like, what happened? And I remember midnight premiere of Days of Future Past. Bryan Singer came back, and it opens with that apocalyptic opening, and then it zooms in on that dead X-Men's belt, and then the X-Men theme from the first two films comes on. I'm just like, I love that theme, and just love it. It's probably one of my favorite pieces of music. It just gets me every time. But yeah. I love a lot. I spend a lot of time thinking about movie scores and listening.
Me too.
So, Ben, this was a lot of fun. So I really appreciate you coming on to the show. I'm going to let you shamelessly plug whatever you would like before we wrap things up.
All right. Well, thanks again for having me on. That was a ton of fun. I really love talking about movies to anyone, anytime. So, and you got a really good show too. I've been watching the older episodes too.
Awesome.
They're really good.
It's funny because some of the guests are just some of my friends that I'm just like, you want to come on my show?
Oh,
and
okay.
I probably don't watch a whole lot of movies, and but it's been some of these episodes I've had so much fun recording. So I've been enjoying this a lot.
It's great getting a variety of answers too.
Yeah. This is I think this is episode 34. I'm like, holy crap, I've been doing this every week since October.
Yeah.
I'm like, come 50, I'm like, I've been doing this a year. So.
Yeah. Our podcast, the Infinity Film Podcast, we just hit episode 53, I believe.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I do the editing on it too, so spend a lot of time with it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun doing that, and we're not quite at a year. We've done double episodes some weeks. It's like June or July or something. I think will be a year, but yeah, it sneaks up on you. And then yeah, you can also find me at the Film Aficionado on Instagram. I haven't been posting a whole lot recently, but now that theaters are opening up and everything, I'm gonna get back into it and hopefully see more Thursday releases.
Good, Ben. Where are you from?
I'm at Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay. Yeah, because I went back to the movies for the first time last Friday, and I'm just like, oh, it felt so nice.
Yep.
I'm going to be seeing A Quiet Place Part 2 tomorrow. So
nice. Me too. Where I'm seeing Cruella tonight as of this recording. Nice. And then Quiet Place 2 tomorrow. So
I've been hearing some good things. Surprisingly, I did not have expectations for Cruella, so I'm like going in. I'm excited at this point. I'll be watching that tomorrow too. But this was a lot of fun. Thank you, Ben, for coming on, and thank all of you out there for always supporting your Wasteland reviewer.